So last week, I did my first impressions on a brand new release that came out on November 1st. I got it during their pre-order. It comes in two different sizes. I was really excited about it because it was the first Gourmand from their signature line. But this is by Zaharoff. Today we're going to be doing my full review after wearing it 4 times, giving you the full performance, all of that, if I like it, my score, if it's willing to be picked up, if it's willing to be blind bought, stuff like that, of Zaharoff's signature AURUM. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You have no idea how much you guys mean to me as far as being my subscribers. A lot of you guys are my friends, so thank you very much for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. It always helps out the channel. Same with the likes. It always puts me on the algorithm. If you want my videos sooner, hit the notifications, and then comment below and let me know if you've tried this before, if you like it, if you're interested in it. But today I'm going to be doing a full review, another full review of a brand new release in 2023. I pre-ordered the 2-ounce. There are two different sizes. I'll get to that in a minute. But this is the first Gourmand that George Zaharoff came up with for his signature line. This is Zaharoff Signature AURUM. So this is what the presentation looks like as far as the bottle. I showed the box and all that in my first impression. If you want to look at it, this is the 2-ounce. So I didn't realize it before the pre-order that the 2-ounce does not come with the plate, even though it still is a beautiful bottle with the gold cap. But yes, the 2-ounce is $155, and it has the honeycomb style thing on the back, the gold cap, really hefty, nice bottle. It's the Zaharoff bottle. And then if you get the 4-ounce bottle right there, I'll put it up. It has the really nice thick plate on it, very beautiful. Probably would have splurged a little bit extra. If I ever run out of this, I'll buy the full bottle of the 4-ounce, but that runs for $195. So it's $155 and $195. I got that wrong on my original video. But with that said, this is going to be his first Gourmand. So I had a lot of arguments with me in my first impression when I said it's his first Gourmand, saying that of the Immortals is a Gourmand. Yes, but that was Curly Fragrance sent through the Z creators, which George is just there as the background. He's there to help them out if they need help. But for the most part, it's the Z creators, Ross, Justin, Curly, working on their scents with a perfumer and telling them exactly how they want that scent to go. This is the first one that George Zaharoff came up with for his signature line that is not a limited release like the other ones are. This is Zaharoff's signature AURUM, his first Gourmand that was from the brainchild of, again, George Zaharoff. But I'm not going to wait anymore. Last time I did my first impression, I spent like 5 minutes just talking. I'm going to tell you guys the full story about this by starting with the note breakdown. So as far as the signature AURUM, the top notes are honeycomb absolute, clove bud, and cinnamon bark. The mid notes are walnut, creamy coconut, almond, and fresh hazelnut. And the base notes are vanilla infusion, tonka bean, praline, and amber. So I went into this fragrance originally thinking that it was going to be a honey-based fragrance from the opening through the dry down, and I was pleasantly surprised, even though I was really excited for that honey, that not the whole fragrance has to do with a primary note of honey. While the honey is in there and it is primary in the opening, after about 20 to 25 minutes, that starts to significantly change to something else. So when you first spray this on, it is a heavy dose of rich, sexy honey draped over what I would call kind of like dusted cinnamon, freshly grated cinnamon, cinnamon sticks. Basically, it's draped over that. And I called this like Manuka honey. So I have this Manuka honey that my mom got me from New Zealand. And it has like the honeycomb, because it's called honeycomb absolute, but it has the honeycomb pieces in it. It is really, really good tasting honey. But with that said, it has a very nice aroma, which this kind of smells like for the opening 20 minutes. If you added in more of an ambery backbone, so this is rich, it is heavy, it is very sweet, it is thick, mixed together with about 15% of that cinnamon spice that adds just a nice spicy and warm backbone. That is the opening 20 to 30 minutes. There's not much else going on. It is very sexy honey cinnamon. and then you have that ambery accord just undertoning the entire fragrance. That ambery accord is there from the opening to the very far dry down. It is really just a nice, warm, and rich ambery undertone. Provides a little bit of a resinous value, but for the most part, it's just the warmth that amber brings. With that said, it's very natural. It smells like you're just tasting honey straight from a beehive mixed together with freshly grated cinnamon and amber. As we work our way about 20 to 25 minutes in, you start getting almost this kind of powdered hazelnut. My daughter said it smelled like hot cocoa, like cocoa powder. And when I say powdery, it's not overly powdery. Somebody asked me that question. No, it is not overly powdery, but it just has this kind of powdered hazelnut / cocoa feeling to it as you work your way 20 to 30 minutes in, mixed together with that honey as it's starting to fade into the backbone, and that cinnamon does stick there, but it does start to fade back. The cinnamon is never prevalent. So I had somebody ask me, is it comparable to like Spice Bomb Infrared? No. Spice Bomb Infrared, it's not even the same type of fragrance, and the cinnamon in Infrared is way, way heavier. The cinnamon in this is more of a natural cinnamon. It's very, very nice, but it's light. It's underneath that really rich honey, and then as you get further in, underneath that hazelnut and then that honey backbone. So at about 30 minutes, as that honey goes from like 75% of the fragrance until it gets down to where it is probably just like 1/3 in the base third of the fragrance, mixing together with that cinnamon and amber to create more of an undertoned backbone. You mix this kind of, and I explained it like this on my original review, and I still agree with myself. So it turns into almost like a Kinder Bueno oil. If you've ever had a Kinder Bueno, what it is, it's this kind of chocolate hazelnut outside shell that is kind of a little bit soft and a little bit kind of powdery. On the inside, you have this vanilla hazelnut creamy filling. It's kind of like that. So it comes off almost like a hazelnut spread mixed with a bit of this really that vanilla infusion, which just kind of smells like vanilla bean ice cream almost. But you mix that together, and then you have that kind of cocoa-y powder on the outside. So it almost reminds me of like what a Kinder Bueno is. It is a very nice, alluring hazelnut. I say alluring a lot for these type of scents for gourmands, because I mean, when you think of smells and aromas, that's what it is. It is a very aromatic, like as far as the aromas, a very, very nice smelling fragrance that smells like something that you could eat or that you could drink. It's absolutely fantastic. While I do say that, this fragrance is not going to be for everybody. I did say that in my first impression. So the opening, the richness in this is going to be a drawback for some people. My daughter and my wife love this fragrance after 35 minutes, but in the opening, they do not love it because they said it's so strong and so rich of a honey that they don't very much like it that much. I actually really like the opening, even though the dry down, I do agree, it gets into like two different types of gourmands. Again, that opening honey and cinnamon, drying down to more of that kind of like powdered cocoa mixed together with vanilla and hazelnut with an ambery honey cinnamon undertone. That's where I think that this fragrance is a lot less situational. So in the opening, it is more situational. Again, my wife and daughter weren't a huge fan of it, but I love it. I think the opening for me is about an 8.3, 8.4. The dry down for me is about a 9. I very much enjoy the dry down in this and the opening, but the dry down to me is where it really hits the heart of the fragrance, where there's a lot more going on, where again, you have that slight cocoa powder feeling, you have some of that vanilla, you have a little bit of this nuttiness, not only from the hazelnut, but also from the praline that comes through. You have a slight bit of a woodiness, even though I don't think there is woods in this when I was reading that off, no. And then you have that powdered. The reason I think it smells like a powdered cocoa, even though there's no chocolate or cocoa or anything, cacao or anything in this, is that I think it's the tonka bean mixing together with the creamy vanilla. So the powdered tonka bean, which has like a vanilla feeling to it anyway, mixing that together with the creamy vanilla and then that hazelnut and praline, It almost gives together like a powdered cocoa vibe. And then you have that kind of, like I said, Kinder Bueno, that inside, that creamy base, that creamy center of the fragrance that really provides that kind of vanilla gourmand mixture with the nuttiness from the hazelnut and that cocoa powder. Very nice, very gourmand. It's almost like if you mix something like Amen Pure Havane with like chocolate greedy. That's kind of what I get from this. It's a high quality gourmand fragrance. This is going to be something that you're going to want to wear in the fall and winter, but I think that this is going to be more centric toward the winter because, again, you have your vanillas, your honeys. To me, that is more of a winter-based fragrance, especially with that slight powdery accord. So it has a little bit of a darkness to it as well. Again, that opening is a lot more dark and rich. As you get to the dry down, that darkness is still there, a little bit of richness in the base, but it's not as dark. And again, it's not as situational as the opening. So don't just go off the opening with this. So anyway, as far as the performance is concerned, this fragrance does last for the opening 2 hours. It is a very heavy projector. It is at least 6 feet of sillage. It has projection off your skin that probably might be a room filler, while that honey is the main player. Again, very rich, very alluring. So I would say this is like a 2 to 3 spray fragrance. Some people might say maybe 4 to 5. I say 2 to 3 is about enough for this, especially in the cold. This is going to eat through the cold. But anyway, the longevity was about 10 hours on my skin. I got it about 9.5, and then I took a shower. Every single time was about 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours, and it was still going pretty strong. But at about 4 hours, that's where it comes from being this very strong fragrance to more of a personal bubble. And that personal bubble really sticks there for about hours 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it gets to more just laying close to the skin. But this fragrance is very nice. It pushes off very nicely. For people who are all about the performance and projection, you're going to get very high quality, very good performance with this, so don't worry about that. That's the last I'm going to say about it because it's just good performance overall. With that said, how would I rank this fragrance overall? I'd say it's about an 8.6 because that opening and dry down, I like the dry down more than the opening, but I'm going to combine the two different scores. I'm going to put it right in the middle. I think that this is my favorite gourmand niche fragrance at this point in time. So I think he did a very, very good job with that. So well done, George. I'm going to be wearing that all fall and winter. I've already worn it now 4 to 5 times. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think about that fragrance. And again, that is Zaharoff AURUM. And I'll be putting that on some lists soon too, because it definitely deserves to be on there. So yeah, let me know what you think about it. And again, I'll be back with another video. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Peace out.